Phasmophobia. I have to
Yes,
look up this name
Phasmophobia.
every time. So
I've just seen this game being spoken about a lot. Like,
yeah,
that's all
so
I know
it's
about it.
interesting. This year's been full of these little surprise hits that sort of like become the zeitgeist of like this is what everyone's playing. So obviously Fall Guys I think was one of the first big ones this year where it just came left field and everyone loved it. And then there was Among Us, which is still very popular. A lot of people still playing the hell out of Among Us.
I think it's
and
still top of Twitch or something, yeah.
Yeah, and I've actually been amazed. Like, there are so many people playing where I would never have expected it. So, like, I've got friends who are big Call of Duty fans. They've messaged a group like, hey, when are you playing Among Us? I'm like, what?
Oh, cool. Okay.
Okay. But Phasmophobia, I think, is just a game that it's not quite on the same level as Among Us in terms of raw numbers and players, but it's a horror game, which maybe like chases off some people. Like I suppose traditionally I wouldn't have played it, but like most games I play, my friends played it. They recommended it, so I was like, okay, cool. It's October. It's the month of horror. Like, why not? Let's do a stream of Phasmophobia. And so it's a 4-player co-op horror game where the premise is you're ghost hunters. So think of any reality show or any ghost hunter trope you've seen. It's the game. You get given cases, like, you know, there's a ghost in this house, whatever, dumb example, and you need to go to the house and get evidence of the ghost being there, and the ultimate goal is to get a photo of the ghosts. And what happens is if you fulfill these objectives, you get money, you get paid, and you use that money to buy better equipment to hunt ghosts. So that's the basic loop. But it's funny because like my experience with horror games, the moment you add anyone else to the game, it's no longer a horror game. Like for the most part, if you're playing like Resident Evil 5, I suppose is a good example, because I think if you're playing that alone, it's not necessarily scary, but it's a lot more tense because it's just you. Whereas if you're playing it co-op, like to me, the horror element was gone because you're just with a friend.
Yeah,
you know,
100%,
it's almost like it just drops. This game is not that. This game is scary. Like it is terrifying. All 4 of us playing were like terrified the whole time because of what's happening. So if you enter a house, your first objective is to obviously try find signs of the ghost. So you'll explore this house or like whatever structure you're in. So like I've done a house, I've done a farmhouse, I've done an asylum, I've done a school. Like there's quite a variation on the sort of levels you have, and they're all randomly generated. I think that it's just like this is the building, and then the game will randomly assign a ghost to that building. Like one of 10, let's say. Like you get a demon, you get an oni, you get a ghoul, you get a banshee, and they're obviously all, I haven't quite figured out what each one does, what like specific traits are, but they all do something different, and they're all different to try track down. So like the way every game starts out is you'll enter the house and you'll just explore the house and look for signs of this ghost. Now, and there are several ways to do this. So from the equipment you can take with you, you get, for example, an EMF meter, which just has 5 readings. So 1 means there's nothing, 5 means there's a ghost like next to you.
This ghost is about to eat you, yeah.
Yeah, so you walk around the house trying to see if you can get it to pick up to 2 or 3, and you try to pinpoint where this ghost is, whatever.
Okay.
You can take a book with you, for example, and you can put it on the floor, leave the room, and come back. The ghost might have written something. It's just like, it's just
the ghost is AI. It's not another player.
It's AI. It's all AI. But one of my favorite things, this game has voice recognition, like very, very light, I suppose. There's a ghost box you can walk around with. It acts a bit like a walkie-talkie, and you can talk to the ghost. So you can say, the ghost has a name. Every case, when you start, you get given a ghost name, like what they've done and, you know, what you're trying to do. So like a ghost name, for example, could be Betty White, whatever. No, not Betty White. That's the actress.
Isn't that an actress? Yeah.
Like Betty Jones, for example. You can walk around the house with this ghost box, and you have to ask questions. You can say, Betty Jones, can you hear me?
Oh,
Betty Jones, give me a sign. And depending on what you ask, the ghost will do something. So if you say, Betty Jones, can you hear me? And if the ghost is near, they might respond to you in your ghost box, like a walkie-talkie. They might say a word or a phrase or something.
Nah, I'm already out.
Or you can
that's
say
too
like,
much.
Betty Jones, give me a sign, and the light might turn off. Okay. So then you know, like, oh God, there's something in this room, or there's something happening over here. So then it might be a thing of, okay, well, we know the ghost is sort of in this area. Maybe let's put the book down. let's leave the room and then come back and see, oh shit, there's writing in the book. Okay, the ghost is written in the book. So how you figure out what the ghost is that you open up your journal, and there's 3 empty spots where you can put in evidence. So based on the scenario I've told you, I could say like the ghost spoke to us. The ghost is written in the book. I need like a third piece of evidence to like really identify what this ghost is. However, I've got 2 of the 3 things I can now like say that it's either a jinn or a banshee, for example, but I don't know which one it is specifically. I need to identify it if I want the maximum payout from this job.
Okay.
So then it might be a thing of, I don't know, like you pull out your EMF meter and then it's on 5. Now you've got all your shit. You've got all your evidence. There's definitely a ghost there. Now, if you really want the payouts of this job, you need to get a photo of the damn thing.
Okay.
And it's funny because the way the game's designed, some ghosts are shy, sorry to put it that way, they won't appear unless there's one person. Which becomes a thing of like, okay, we're going to split up
only
now.
when the person's alone, they will appear.
Yeah, it depends on the ghost from what I can tell, but my friends being assholes were like, well, you're new to the game. Here's the camera. We're going to leave you in the room and we want you to get a photo of this ghost.
So okay, wait, hold on. So you're all playing together and you're all trying to hunt this ghost.
Yeah.
So what is the win condition? Is just you getting a photo of the ghost?
So the ghost can kill you. If you piss the ghost off, it can kill you all one by one. So I suppose the loose condition is buying equipment costs money.
Yeah.
If you die, you lose that equipment, which sucks because then you obviously have to you'll go back to, I don't know how the game contextualizes it, but then when you die, you go back to your home base. You have to buy the equipment back that you lost, if that makes sense.
Okay.
The win condition is you get a photo of the ghost, you meet all 3 evidence conditions, you get a big payout, and then you get to move on to a bigger job potentially because you can afford better equipment, if that makes sense.
Okay, yeah. That makes sense, yeah.
Yeah, so it's like a high risk, high reward thing though, because say for example, okay, we've got our 3 points of evidence, we'll get some money. However, we want to stay and try to get a photo of the ghost because that will really seal the job. It's done. You're not trying to kill the ghost at all. You're just trying to prove that it's there.
Well, you can't kill the ghost even if you want to.
You can't kill a ghost.
So are there you mentioned there's different types of ghosts. So there's different types of houses or scenarios.
Yeah. So
how do those change? Is it just you have to adapt to how the ghost works?
I think you have to adapt to how the ghost, what ghost you've got and what room did it spawn in. So I don't know if I haven't played enough to really be like, oh, the game got old real fast, whatever.
Ghost is sus.
But the ghost is sus, voted off. But from what I've played, it's interesting because the whole time I was terrified. Lenska laughs because I told her the whole time I was playing, I was just sweating. Just because it's stressful. You're walking around, and the worst is when you split up because some ghosts, you want them to appear because you obviously want to get the money, but it's not going to appear if you're all holding hands, all 4 of you. So you have to split up to try get some stuff,
Yeah.
So a good example is I did send you a clip on Friday. I don't know if you watched it, but basically my friends are like, hey, we know for a fact the ghost is in this room. We know it's there. We need you to sit in here and take a photo of it. And it was funny because one of the pieces of equipment you get is a sensor. But being new to the game, I wasn't sure. So I'm busy sitting in the corner, shitting myself. And then I see the red light go green. I'm like, hang on, guys. The light just went green. Is that a sensor? Does that mean that, what does that mean? They're like, oh, it means the ghost is in there with you. So the light flickered green and then went red. So I was like, okay, it's not here. Then it goes green. I'm like, oh my God, it's in here. And then I hear a noise in my headphones. I shit a brick, grab my camera, take a random photo, run out the house. And we're all shitting ourselves. And then did you get a photo? I'm like, no, I got a photo of the ceiling. We've got to go back now. It's a good time. I don't know if I did a good or bad job explaining it, but it's really
sounds
fun.
It sounds a bit like a game that you, I understand the broad strokes from what you've explained, but I feel like I need to try to understand how it conveys that sort of atmosphere, which I think is a lot of horror games anyway.
Yeah, so. I mean, so where the atmosphere comes in is another good example is some ghosts maybe don't like light. They won't show any hint of
So the ghost is a
appearance unless
gamer.
all the
Got
lights are off. So, but then you have to put all the lights off, and you only walk around with your flashlight. Problem is when the ghost appears, like your flashlight starts to flicker and it'll go off. Yeah. It's a lot of fun. Like I was completely taken by surprise, and even more surprising is that even though the whole time I was like, oh my god, I'm terrified, I'm dying to play more, just because in between all these scares, there were all these laughs we had, like all these little anecdotes and stuff that don't come from other games like this.
Yeah, it's a different type of game. Like you said, it's a feat that this game is able to retain its atmosphere when you're playing in co-op, because the shitposting can definitely take away from the atmosphere completely. So,
look, I think like any horror game, if you played enough, you'll get over it. But I can say that those early days, I've really, really enjoyed it.
Well, I mean, we played a multiplayer
I know. I was actually thinking about that.
that really old. What was it called? Hide and Scream or something like that.
I can't remember.
Man, that got old super fast.
Yeah.
Like it was novel for a while, and then it was like, okay, I understand this game, and it's dumb.
Goddamn.
Yeah, that game was so stupid. I'm just thinking of the video we did for that.
I know. I was actually going to find it.
God, what
hilarious.
a dumb video.